Hi, I'm Anna.
And I'm Ben.
And we are Autosave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Mob Psycho episode 3. Yeah. I'm excited to learn more about this world. About this character being Mob.
I love him. I already adore the character Mob.
Why do I feel like we're gonna get some more Ritsu, Mob's brother? We had like a little scene of him being like, "How you doing, Mob?" in episode 2.
It seems like he's a possible nice, supportive brother.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the parents keep wanting Shigeo to act like Ritsu or be like Ritsu, and so there might be room to have more support and fun antics. Maybe see that Ritsu isn't as perfect as the parents maybe paint him as.
We've considered the thought that all of them are psychics. Maybe Ritsu's quiz that he did well on was a psychic quiz. Maybe, I don't know. My big thing right now is I want to see other psychics in the world of Mob
like
Psycho.
Actual real professional exorcists and
like,
psychics.
Yeah. Like, because
not fakes.
I was a little taken aback to know that other it's not a secret, in this world, because there doesn't really seem, I don't know, it's this weird in-between of like, they're not everywhere, but people know that they exist kind of thing. And I'm wondering like how that's going to play out. So it's very interesting to me.
I can't get over how colorful the first 2 episodes were.
So cool.
It gave me the vibe that I wish that I could watch it early in the morning every week and see what the new spirit that Mob was gonna fight was and what their situation is.
I could see this being like a weekly type of show, and what I mean
like
by
Scooby-Doo.
Well, and what I mean by that is like a reoccurring kind of like formula, and I don't know why when I say that, like there's a negative connotation in my head automatically, but I don't mean it in that way. Like it's like a really enjoyable freaking show with great characters, obviously cool animation and stuff, but like the plot is like.
Well, didn't you compare it to Cardcaptor Sakura?
Yeah.
During either the first or second episode?
So I wonder if that's where it's going to go with this show, or they're going to throw a curveball, or I don't know. I'm enjoying it so far. The art and music have definitely been standout. The humor, I think the art's the main takeaway. Don't get me wrong. The animation's amazing. I couldn't even begin to say anything otherwise. I almost appreciate the actual art style more than the animation, though. Like the way that the characters are drawn and the objects in this world are drawn, like it's very it's full of personality.
Each character, even ones that we know we're never gonna see again, like especially like the first episode, that couple, like the guy had like an apple hairdo, and we're probably never gonna see them again, but even side characters are drawn with such personality and forced to make such interesting, dramatic facial expressions.
Yeah, we know that Mob is now in the fitness club, or like the body improvement club.
Body improvement. They're all really, really strong guys.
I could be wrong. I believe that he's at 40% right now. I am going to assume that the first thing we saw in episode 1 was his
100.
Yeah, and like that's what we're going towards. I don't know. I think that this episode will give us an idea of a better idea of what kind of show to expect. Like, are we going to open up right where we left off? Like, is he going to be in the Body Improvement Club, or was that like a one-off bit,
Right. I think you're totally right. I think this will show us the formula that might be happening for the rest of the show.
Or that there is no formula.
Or that there is no formula, and we're really actually going to see Mob in his day-to-day life and the antics of being a middle schooler.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited, man.
Percentage guess?
I don't have any anymore. I've ruined myself. I thought that by last episode we'd probably end on 33, and it ended on 40. But so here's the thing. We ended the first episode 27. I thought that the second episode was going to end on 33, but actually that's where it started. That was the first jump, which is interesting. And then it was the first time it went to, I believe it went to an even number, which is interesting. I don't know,
Does it mean anything?
Probably not, but I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I'm ready. You?
Yeah.
Sweet. There we go. Tsubomi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Aw, look at him.
Oh, Mom.
He's
trying so hard.
Jesus. Mob's stamina 0%.
I kind of hope for Mob that he does become more physically fit, even if it's for his own personal feeling better about himself.
You know what? That brings me, I don't think in any fiction or any story I have ever seen regarding people with telekinetic powers, I've never seen somebody who's a psychic or has that power range who is like physically fit. It's always people who are not physically fit because it makes sense, but like it'd be an interesting take to see like this ripped dude who also could like move stuff with his mind. If we ever have kids, this is how I'm going to teach them numbers. Aww.
Oh, probably because they don't really actually need it.
Yeah. How nice of them. I don't know if those two things overlap. I respect it. Aww. It's a confidence thing, Mob.
Tsubomi. Not surprised.
They're like cold reading him. Classic mentalist behavior.
Is it a real person and like how he imagines some people with vegetable faces?
LOL.
I don't trust it. That sounds horrible.
That's terrifying.
I know.
It's exactly what a group that isn't suspicious would say.
Oh, even the voice is creepy.
Initiation.
You know, telepathy would be really good right now. That's a girl!
Oh no. Misato.
Dimple-sama. Oh, it's because his mask has like the pink circles. Okay, they're masks.
It's very unsettling.
It's unnerving for sure. Smile mates.
It's gonna sound really stupid, but I love how his stubble's drawn. The dude in the middle.
LOL makes a lot more sense now.
Ooh. Do you think it's like a curse? Like a cursed object kind of thing?
Ooh, yeah.
I wonder if it won't work against Mob because he's psychic. Is she a journalist?
Stop!
Hell yeah!
Stop! Yes! Newspaper.
Group hypnosis.
Laughing gas? Inside the mask?
Maybe, or like one of those classic hypnosis circles.
Oh, you can hear if it's an internal thought. Doubted our smiles.
It's a very
No
creepy
reason.
line.
Mob's gonna be a hero.
It took like no time at all.
Oh, she's fighting against it internally.
You wonder if all of them are like screaming on the inside.
Take her with you.
What?
Oh, he wants to be a religious figure.
$58.
I was like, how is milk funny?
We saw him drinking milk last episode as well. Those two are pathetic.
Oh. Poisoned.
What an interesting drawing.
He fixed them all. Why am I here again? They had like locked in.
Just Mob's like aura? $74? Finally somebody else with psychic powers, but... $88. Whoa. At least he can fight back, right?
ここに一人の超能力者がいると呼ばれる小学生。持っていながらも無意識に避けるようになっていた。とに徐々に気づいて動けないとなるとブレーキをかけた状
Is that
態
the
になる。
explosion?
なっていることにモブ本人は気づいていない。
Huh.
感情の成分にも限界許容量がある。
Leaking out and going wild.
そして今限界を超えようとしていた。それは怒り。スマイルマスクが通じないわけだ。
あれにも細工があったのか。気づかなかった。まあいい。本気で来い。笑わせるよりは簡単かもしれない。
His whole personality's changed. He's a badass, dude. High level. Whoa.
And it's Mob keeping all those people safe, right? Floating above.
Oh. 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 Just like the... What happened to the percentage now? Do you think it like reset?
Starts over? You saved them.
That's meta as fuck.
I feel like the percentage resets. They are like wayward people.
This song is really nice. Dimple? It went to 22, right?
Or 20?
20. So what do you think?
That was almost like, no, I don't know if I want to say like emotionally, like more emotional than the other two episodes.
Agree.
Because there was a lot of things talked about that I feel like those people were obviously all kind of taken advantage of for the fact that they needed something to believe in. They needed someone to depend on. They needed to feel like they were a part of something. So it's actually like really a sad situation. A lot of those people were taken into this cult experience because they had these needs and wants and they were being fulfilled by this hypnosis. And then Mob, obviously it's emotional because I didn't think we'd see a mob explosion until the end because I thought that was like the point was we were counting down, but like we were going pretty fast with the percentages. So I was like, what does this mean? I guess it just resets every time he gets emotionally triggered.
I mean, he lets it out, right?
Oh, yeah. It's like he finally, like, releases that pent up, like, lets his emotions out.
I definitely want to go back to, the red the red stroked text, the narration, you know?
Where?
Through, like, while Mob was, like, in the process of,
Raging?
like here. Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
He subconsciously always avoided trying to display those powers. he gradually realized how dangerous his powers were.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, do you think that he realized that subconsciously even? Like, he realized how much harm it could do? And what of a monster he could be?
Is it like he has awareness, or did something happen? You know how I've said, well, how did he meet Reagan?
Yeah.
How did Reagan meet him? How did they come to be boss and employee? Maybe he did something, and that's how Reagan realized he had powers.
Perhaps.
And Reagan did say he wasn't allowed to use them on people, specifically. So it's like he had to be taught that, or someone needed to tell him, don't do that again.
But from a very young age, we had a flashback with Tsubomi last episode. He said that he only showed her the powers, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe his emotional reset thing has been happening from a young age.
It also makes me very, like, even more curious about the familial aspect. If they are also psychic, like, I don't know. It seems it seems weird. Like, it seems like a contrast to what happened at the dinner table with the spoon. Like, I don't know. Like, is it like a family thing, and Mob just hasn't told them like his true power, so they don't like respect him, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Like, or they don't realize he needs the help. To continue on with the narration, when people are unable to act or do as they please, their emotions come to a halt. Mob hasn't realized that his aversion to using his powers has become a complex. Mm-hmm. That's a great line.
I wrote down complex.
Yeah. The emotions that are locked away deep inside Mob's heart,
leaking and going wild,
expand little by little. However, there's a limit to how much this emotion can take before leaking out and going wild, like you just said. And now an emotion was swirling out about like a torrent, trying to go past the limit.
And it was rage.
So that's an interesting take, right? Like, is rage the only thing that can make it past its limit? Could, after 100%, it be a different emotion, and that could be expressed in a different way?
Maybe. I don't know. Rage is something that's very hard to control, and it's hard to push it down if you're really angry. I think it's one of the hardest emotions to keep at bay and process. So I'm not surprised that that's the one that broke past the limit of self-control.
You know, I cannot express enough in words how awesome and badass Mob is. Like, when he breaks, I think,
yes, the design's so good.
The design is so good.
His eyes have color.
In episode 1, from the, like, the first thing we saw, I wrote 100 equals red eyes. And then...
And his hair is like...
The hair is what does it for me, because it is so smart to have his normal design be literally a bowl cut. The most, like, average normal thing that's like, oh, okay.
He looks like he's gonna be just, like, this boring, unpopular kid.
When he is, like, 100%, I'm sure, like, it's a show that's been around a while. I'm sure that it's, like, the consensus that this is the coolest thing in the world, and it's like Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. It's like peak, you know?
Would Tsubomi fall in love with that?
I don't know, dude, but the way that he's drawn is so great. It like almost looks like a different person. Like, and I will try to make sure I put the shot in the discussion editing it, but how cool is it that, like, how the people are drawn in the background here? How awesome is that?
Awesome. And it made me feel happy that even in his rage, he kept the innocent people out of the battlefield. That made me really happy.
It feels like we don't even see Mob. Like it feels like the first 2 episodes and 80% of this episode, we have not even met the real Mob. Mm-hmm. And we have met the result of him suppressing everything. And that's all we know. And, like, I say that because, like, mask, so there's a trick to that too. I didn't even notice because it was so weak. Like, how he's talking is so, like, I don't know.
It has the confidence that he should have in his normal, what we've met him as in the last 2 episodes.
It's so interesting because his friends or the people who he was hanging out with were like, Mob, you look so bored. If you're so bored, like, why don't you go home? And he's like, I'm not bored. He kind of looks bored here, like in the 100%. Like I didn't even notice because it was so weak. He's so unbothered. Like
unbothered's a good word.
It's so cool.
It's like he's just looking at this tiny little ant, you know?
And then I don't think we've ever seen this much emotion throughout the first 3 episodes so far. If the policy of your religion is to kill the outsiders, that might or was that the next one? Come at me with everything you've got. That might be easier than making me laugh. Ugh. And the aura that he has is very interesting. It's prismatic, unlike a typical anime aura, you know?
There's like tons of, a lot of mix of texture in this show that is like different mediums, not just like digital drawing or ink and pen.
It works surprisingly well, though.
It's like a collage.
You know why I think it works well? Other than every single medium doing the extent of the work to make it as good as possible, I think that why it works for me is it's just complete contrasting. You have, what I'm a huge fan of, very pencil-y like lines drawn on his face. And then as the complete contrast of just digital prisms, like as his aura, it's not like a perfect line character with that. I think it heightens it to the next level that they pick and choose where to use what. Like, look at his pupils here, you know?
It makes it more like an art piece.
It does. It really does. I would love to know how this was in the manga.
Me too. Especially because a lot of the things we're enjoying has a lot of color to it.
Yeah.
It also makes me wonder how that translates in a possible black and white format. I wouldn't be surprised if Mob Psycho has a colored version.
I agree.
I have seen some manga have colored versions.
These are my emotions. How cool, dude. Terrifying.
This is what happens if he knows that this is what happens when he lets his emotions show, which leads me to believe that it has happened before with an effect that has taught him that it is something he needs to suppress.
Does he know this is what happens when his emotions show normally, when he's not at 100%? Has he like made a safety net for himself? That he's like, oh, if I I have not heard any dialogue from Mob to suggest that he is aware. He's not like, oh, Reagan, that's not a good idea. Don't get me angry. Don't make me embarrassed. Like, don't, you know? Like, it's very interesting because he's very self-aware here.
Yeah, but he might not know when he's at his breaking point.
That's very
until
true.
It snaps. So I don't know if he would necessarily be like, Reagan, I can't do that, because I don't know if he's aware of his countdown.
Well, no, I agree with you, but I'm wondering if like this 100% Mob is so much more self-aware from anything we've seen from previous Mob that it's like, is it like a coping mechanism?
Oh.
Like,
yeah, and that awareness and the more activity in the brain is probably some emotions tied to it.
Well, yeah, like it's like he's subdued every part of himself.
Everything is melancholy and limited.
Which is great.
Like limit was one of the words that was said.
Yeah.
He's limited normally.
Yeah, no, honestly, it's like a limit or like a gauge you'd put on like a motorcycle or like a scooter, like so you can't go past a certain mile per hour. Like it's like and it's so like in that it would be ironic in the sense that, oh yeah, you're limiting it, but when it does burst, it's going to burst harder than it ever would if it wasn't limited, Which I wonder if that's the case, or it's just like a, oh no, this is just what I'm actually like. Like it breaks the seal, you know?
I have like a cartoon that I have been thinking of from watching these episodes of Mob Psycho. And I can't quite put my finger on what's reminding me of it, but I keep thinking of Hey Arnold.
I was thinking
There's
Ed,
something
Ed,
about Ed, Ed, and Nettie?
But it's not Hey Arnold, it's not Ed, Ed, Nettie, but I do think that we can find a common ground there, that there is something about this show that reminds me of Western animation. Whether it's the art, whether it's the story, whether it's the like there's something about it that reminds me of cartoons.
The color
from
blocking the
West.
shadows. I don't know. There's something about
I'm
it.
with you, though.
I can't figure out what it is. I am not an expert in these things.
No. We both are not. I've been watching a lot of Corridor Crew. I've watched them all the time, forever. But we have like a lot of friends who are professionals in the industry of this stuff. That's where I feel like we've gotten the little bit of knowledge we have. If there ever comes a time that we wanted to pursue that further, we could always do like like we bring one of our animator friends to talk about like animation friends who work for animation studios, or like CG friends who work for like CG studios, you know, like, and like get like a behind the scenes feel of how this stuff's done.
I love watching something like that with them.
Yeah.
Like be in the room and hear their thoughts.
Like if we compile like a few clips and be like, so like, what's your take on this? Could you explain this like from like a creative standpoint so we understand where potential influences come from? Because
or they might know if something, we might see something and we're like, whoa, but they might see it and they'd be like, that is hard to do, or that takes forever to learn or master.
And like, we love this kind of stuff, but in the grand scheme of things, we can't compare to people who this is their passion in their life, you know? And
we didn't go to school for it either.
Yeah, and like we don't work this every day, and it could be cool to have that perspective for a lot of these scenes. I bring it up especially in this show because
this is the one that your animator friends have recommended to you.
Yeah, and the animation's obviously great, and the art style's very, very unique in, again, starting autosave with you has made me realize that I had not watched any anime. But when I was around people who never watched literally any anime, and I watched like 2 or 3 things, I felt like I did. In any of the anime that I have watched, this is by far the most different and unique when it comes to character design and world design. Like, it's very different, and I love it for it.
It definitely sticks out for me in uniqueness. Like, I think the anime I saw recently that also sticks out to me in creativity, very artistic and different manner is Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, which you haven't seen. But I'm really into the unique styles. They stick with you. You remember them. They're memorable. I'm into it. And I'm into this girl that we just met.
Misato.
I feel like they're gonna that's a friendship there. Maybe she's even gonna investigate Mob for the school newspaper.
I kind of would love her to be a reoccurring character.
She's in the intro.
Karata has a dream of meeting extraterrestrials.
Yes.
I don't know if that
should never happen.
And so we have a confirmation that Mob does not have the power of telepathy at the moment, correct?
Which brings up the interesting question of, can he teach himself other things?
Dude, I don't know. I'm very glad. Okay, it's a double-edged sword here, because on one end, I'm very glad that the villain this episode was not human, so we could see Mob go 100%. But on the other hand, I'm like, okay, where the hell are the other psychics, man? Like, I need to see other psychics in this world.
That wasn't even a psychic, it was a possessed guy.
Because we saw, like, Karata and the rest of the club, like, kind of be surprised about, or, like, freak out a little bit from Mob, like,
it's more like, people want it to be real or want it to exist, but they don't actually see it or know that it's actually real.
It's very interesting. Every ounce of thought that I put into like percentages growing and guesses all down the drain. I'm okay with it though. We jumped from 58 to 72 to 88 to 92 to 100
It honestly
in one
makes
episode.
me more excited though, because
it's unpredictable.
It means that who knows the next time, what the next moments are going to be that push him even a 20% gap, you know, like giant leaps of like emotion.
From a storytelling perspective, it makes me feel like there's a better chance now for an overarching story going forward though. Now that I thought that it could be the reoccurring same story until the season finale where we get that explosion. Now that I know that we already have it, I'm like, maybe there's more to this, like thematically and like in like regards to the story going forward. Maybe there's more to explore.
I think it's to me it hints that it's going to be more involving Mob and the fact that he is a person in this universe. He's a middle school student. He's gonna make friends. He has a crush. We're gonna see more of those interpersonal relationships, the activities he's going to do. It's less about the fact that he is this assistant or employee of a con artist exorcist, but it's more about the fact that there is this young boy who's trying to figure out how to be something he wants to be, and also trying to keep in his emotions and not let them leak out.
Yeah.
At a very vulnerable time in his life.
Mm-hmm. I'm enjoying it so far.
Me too.
You good?
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you guys so much for watching this video with us. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.